Have you ever felt like God has left you? Have you ever felt like God has disappointed you? If you have, this message is for you. I have seen numerous saints who struggle with bouts of God's absence as they negotiated critical illnesses or cognitive problems, or prolonged periods of unemployment, or receiving phone calls in the middle of the night because a wayward child has been arrested, or the sudden death of a loved one who meant the world to them. And they felt life was against them. And I'm sure some of you feel that way right now too. You may feel as if circumstances are against you. You may feel as if your friends are against you. Your enemies are against you. You may even feel as if God is against you. Now, I want to tell you today, no matter the situation you are currently going through, I want to assure you that God will never leave nor forsake you. Hebrews 13:5 gave us the assurance that God will never leave us or forsake us, no matter the situation we go through in our lives. A man was once describing the dark days of his childhood, and he described that when he was a child, his family was imploding before his very eyes. Parents yelling and screaming and arguing with one another. And the situation got completely out of hand. So much so that he felt that if he was to take an attendance registry at that moment, it would have sounded like this: Daddy, here. Mother, present. David, here. Ray, here. Satan, present. God, God, God. God for him in that moment seemed absent, missing. I'm sure we have all gone through situations where we wondered, where is God? Men in the Bible experienced a sense of God's absence. Joshua, the first to hear the promise, "I will never leave nor forsake you," wondered where God was after he rounded Jericho. Enemies, here. Defeat, present. The psalmist wrestled with God's absence. Psalm 13:1. How long, O Lord? Will you forget me forever? How long will you hide your face from me? Job had moments of wondering, where is God? Job 23, verse 1 through 5. Even today, my complaint is bitter. God's hand is heavy in spite of my groaning. If I only knew where to find him. If only I could go to his dwelling. I would state my case before him and fill my mouth with arguments. I would find out what he would answer me. If only I knew where to find him. Even Jesus asked the question from the cross in Matthew 27:46. My God, why have you forsaken me? People who wrote the Bible struggled at times with the absence of God, and so have saints through the ages. This is a common experience in the Christian life. So if you've been there or are there right now, don't feel like the Lone Ranger. We are in good company, and you, like most of us who have experienced God's absence, would probably say, My mind and my faith tell me God is with me in some way, but I sure don't feel him near me now. This confirms what Frederick Buechner put so well. For what we need to know, of course, is not just that God exists, not just that beyond the steely brightness of the sky, there is a cosmic intelligence of some kind that keeps the whole show going, but that there is a God right here in the thick of our day-to-day lives. As we move around down here, knee-deep in the fragrant muck and misery and marvel of the world, we need to know that God is not distant. That means you don't have to make some arduous quest to find God. God is and has already accepted you. That means you don't have to build up a resume of accomplishments to gain God's approval. God has already included you. That means you don't need a tribe. You don't need to be an insider. You don't need to compare or compete. You are already an adopted child, given an inheritance and a home. This is all true, waiting for you to accept it. Now, the wonderful thing about God is that he has a perfect track record when keeping his promises. Hebrews 13:5 is not the only place in the Bible where God has promised never to leave nor forsake us. It's sprinkled like drops of grace around the scripture. It first shows up as Moses commissions Joshua to lead Israel across the Jordan and conquer the promised land from the pagan nations who dwelled there. Moses announces this first to the people, Deuteronomy 31:6, and then to Joshua, Deuteronomy 31:8. God makes this promise a second time, directly to Joshua, as Joshua steels up his courage to lead the people into conquest, Joshua 1:5. Solomon prayed this promise over the people of Israel in his prayer of dedication over the temple, 1 Kings 8:57. In different words, the psalmist affirmed God's presence with us throughout the book of Psalm. Isaiah the prophet, an amazing prophecy of the coming Messiah Jesus, Isaiah 7:14. Therefore, the Lord himself give you a sign. Behold, a virgin shall conceive and bear a son, and shall call his name Emmanuel. And we are told in Matthew 1:23 that Emmanuel means God with us. And this promise sounds very familiar to the promises Jesus made to the church when he commissioned the disciples to take the gospel into the nations. I am with you always, even until the end of the age. Matthew 28:20. Apparently, God knew we needed a lot of affirmation of his faithful presence with us, and it pops up yet again in our text in Hebrews. In a series of exhortations, the author of Hebrews, in verse 5, employs the promise in regard to being content of one's material possessions. For God has said, I will never leave you or forsake you. In other words, you don't need a lot of money and a bunch of things. You need Jesus, and he is with you, always. Hebrews also ties the promise in verse 6 as a courage booster when we face persecution, so we can confidently say, the Lord is my helper. I will not fear. What can man do to me? As you can see, biblical authors applied the promise to various life situations, and it is one strong promise. I will never leave you, nor forsake you. The Greek word for leave carries the idea of abandonment. Abandonment means that once I had someone, now he's left me. Not left me in a sense of running to the store or going off to work, but left me in a sense of I have no idea where he's gone and if he's ever coming back again. This is the kind of abandonment many children have experienced with their earthly father and mother. And God says, I will never abandon you. I will never leave you forever. Even if you don't feel my presence, hang on. You will feel it again. I will never leave you, nor will I forsake you. The word forsake means to abandon, desert, or leave alone in the field of contest, or in a condition of suffering. A common way to say it would be, I will never leave you in a lurch. Much of the military has a code. Leave no man behind on the battlefield. God operates by that code too. When you're in battle, God won't desert you. When you are suffering, God won't abandon you. On the contrary, God enters our suffering, just as he did through Jesus, suffering on the cross. We may feel abandoned, but we are not. I will never forsake you.